tell the show what you're doing with your kids.
Well, I saw this somewhere else and thought, this is genius. And pretty much you have your kids speak to your home devices as they would if they were talking to a human using proper manners. So like if my daughter's asking Alexa to play a song or something, I now say, you need to ask her and say, please. And then if she plays it, you say, thank you. And you do proper manners with the box, because then that helps them continue their manners with humans.
Eddie, you had some weird eyes when she was saying that.
I was processing it, and I think I love it.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I think I love it because this is a perfect time for them to practice these manners. I've tried the Mr. and Mrs. That's not working in my house. Like, that's Mr. Bones to you, and it doesn't stick. But I like the thank you and you're welcome and yes, sir, or whatever. But yeah.
How receptive have they been to it?
Yeah, not so much, but because they think it's ridiculous because it's not a real person. But I'm like, but do you understand like why it's helpful? Because it helps keep you in that pattern of saying it. And you talk to these devices sometimes more than you do a human, especially now that it's summertime and they're not going to be in school. And I just felt like summertime is a great time to start using our manners with AI.
You know what's weird is I will still, because I was trained to say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir.
You still do it?
I do, especially if I'm like I go to Southwest Airlines ticket, and I'm like, hey, she's like, oh, you need this? I'm like, yes, ma'am. It strikes people if they're not from the South in a really weird way. So that is sometimes like a little issue. And secondly, if they're younger than me, if I don't know them, if I don't know how old they are, I'm just like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And they're like, huh? Hey, aren't you like 40?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird, but I have been trained to, my grandma, if I ever said, yeah, I had slapped him back in the head.
I know. That's how I was raised, too.
And so it is yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, to somebody in a position of authority. If it's like Eddie.
You haven't called me sir
I
ever,
haven't, nor will I ever. Were you yes, sir, no, sir?
Yes. My parents didn't require it, so I wish they would have more so, because then I would be better at it.
Well,
but
it's
as
weird
I
now
grew
as
up,
an adult, though,
Yeah.
that I still do that. I say that not like, look at how good my manners are. But sometimes I'm like, they're like, so would you like to sit in 6B? Yes, ma'am. What the?
Yeah.
Why would you say? So it's maybe I should drop it now.
No, I think it's okay
It's
to
a good
have it.
quality.
It's a good quality. It's something I developed later, and I'm glad that I did. And also, too, we've crossed into that age group where I get these young kids telling me, yes, ma'am. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I just have to embrace it because they're using their manners. And yes, I'm 40. I'm officially like, yes, ma'am.
You've been a ma'am for like 15 years.
Okay.
He like says you?
Thank
But
you.
okay.
No, I mean, Morgan's a ma'am to kids, and she's 26, 27.
Don't put that on me
But
yet.
you
I'm
are,
not there
you are a
yet.
You
ma'am.
are.
You're a ma'am to a
Yeah.
12-year-old, for sure.
Man, but these 21-year-olds, they look 12. I saw a kid driving the other day,
I
and I
know.
thought, what?
I was about to call the cops on a kid that I saw driving. I'm like, no way he's 16.
Right.
No way.
But that's it. We've
Please
hit
call
that.
the cops, Eddie, on a kid.
We've
I'm
hit
sure he
that
was.
that mark, that line. We've crossed over to the side where kids just look so young. It happens, and we're there.
Yeah, I guess I don't really experience that. I guess because I'm so young, youthful.
Yeah, right.
Totally.
You
Yeah.
know you do.
It's a Bobby Bones Show.